and welcome back to the good people. We're slowly meeting all of the love interests while our identity, well, I don't know for how long we can keep it a secret of who we really are. The others must be getting suspicious at some point, but, well, we'll see for how long we can keep the facade up. Daoine, the human. Yeah. With a tentative silence now between us, Queen Aoife guides me through the gardens to a gate in the palace walls. At a glance, it seems to lead back into the forests. Strange. I wonder why Daoine's residence would be outside the palace grounds, if they're in the employ of the Queen. Do you have your key with you, darling? Oh. In a brief attempt to save face, I pat myself down as though I were searching for something I would usually have on me. No, sorry. I must have misplaced it. Oh dear. Well, we shall have to remedy that. But no matter. I have one here. Aoife hums softly, after which she seemingly snatches a key from thin air. That is, unless I missed her digging around for a pocket in all those dress folds. Nevertheless, she's unlocked the gate before I can think on it much further. As I suspected, the other side of the gate does indeed extend into the forest, but I'm surprised again by how far we end up walking. Well, maybe Daoine just likes her privacy. Whoever this Daoine truly is, they certainly valued their privacy. There we go. Eventually, Aoife and I reach a glade where a small but homey sort of cottage sits hidden away from prying eyes. The windows are dark, and the garden off to the side looks overrun. It's been a while since anyone's been here, that's for certain. Though strangely, the rose bushes look a bit more well kept than the rest of the flora. How long is Daoine gone for? Huh, that's all other mystery then. Well, except for the fact they're currently being munched on. By a very, very stupid horse. Oh. Oh my, is that your horse, Daoine? I don't think I've seen it before. I don't answer because my jaw's fallen completely slack. I can't believe what I'm seeing. But how? Why? Darby? What are you? Oh, don't eat those. I see that damn fool of a horse's ears stiffly flip backwards, but otherwise she doesn't acknowledge me at all. I suppose that does answer my question. Flushing, I turn back to the Queen, rigid and alert. Oh, yes. But we were separated. Interesting. Well, never mind. I suppose now this is where we part ways. I would invite myself inside, but I'm sure the place is overrun with dust, so I shall leave you to your housekeeping. Do keep your ear to the ground, though. I imagine I will have need for you shortly. Right. Thank you, Queen Aoife. Hastily and very much distracted, I attempt something of a bow to the Queen before sprinting off toward Darby, my mind swirling with questions. Do try to keep out of trouble, Aiden. For a moment, I glance back over my shoulder, certain I heard Aoife say something else, but she's already turning out of the glade by the time I do. I shake my head and press on after Darby, who, despite my hollering, keeps chewing on those rose bushes without a care in the world. Bad horse, stop that! You're going to get stuck here if you eat those. The mare raises her head and stares at me mid-chomp. Darby, I'm warning you, She swallows. My head falls back as I let out an exasperated sigh. Great. Perfect. How'd you feel if I just left you here then? Leave you to the fairies? Darby's ears press down and she huffs at me. Oi, you're the one who decided to eat fairy food. Or, fairy flowers. Anyway, point is, the first thing people tell you about the other world is that you never, ever eat the food. I clutch my stomach as it suddenly groans. Damn, how long has it been since I ate? It was night when I stumbled in here and morning when I popped out of the lake, but it still feels like morning now. The sky hasn't changed at all. I sigh, shaking my head again. It doesn't matter how long it's been. I'm now well and truly hungry. But if I eat anything from this place, I'll be trapped here. Well, I'm gonna assume that we're not going to make it back to our world before we have to eat something. I slap my forehead, the solution suddenly dawning on me. Plata. The potato, of course. And Vater. I hurry over to Darby, but I have a sinking feeling in my gut. Please let it be there. Please let it still be there. Even if it is still there, how long is one potato going to last you? My face falls as I search both sides of her, but it's no use. The saddleback's gone. Damn it. I suppose I shouldn't be all that surprised. It's already a small miracle that I managed to find my horse again, but... With all that's gone on, I'd almost forgotten what led me here to begin with. Anything of value my family had in the world was in that saddlebag. Even if I get Darby and I out of here now... How am I going to be able to face my family? I fold my arms and close, suddenly feeling very, very helpless. Drawn out of my thoughts, I look over at Darby, who I thought just made a sound. But she's still just eating the flowers, not paying me any mind at all. I feel a slight chill down my spine as another strange sound comes out of nowhere. Hurriedly, I turn around and come face to face with another horse. The purple-maned beast is far larger than any horse I've ever seen, and it stares at me with such an intensity that I reflexively take a few steps back. Stranger still, though. Day. Oh. Daoine. Is that it can talk? A bit of sweat rolls down my forehead as I freeze, holding the creature's eye. Hello? Its gaze lingers on me a while longer. Until, abruptly, the horse reels back and whinnies. Jesus, loud. Bewildered, I stand and watch as it turns and gallops off into the Sealy woods with my saddlebag on its back. Hey! Get back here with that! I was just wondering if we're at some point going to find out who the thief was that took our stuff but also pushed us into what was essentially the portal to this world. Would that be them? I don't know. I move without thinking, not willing to let this chance slip through my fingers. I have no idea where this other horse would have my saddlebag, but I can think about it later. I bolt over to Darby and swing into her saddle. Surprised, she immediately tries to throw me off my balance, but I hold myself firm with my knees and pull in her reins. Oh, not this time, you don't. She acquiesces to my control and kicks off into a gallop at my command, tearing off into the woods behind the horse thief. Of course, the other horse is a good deal faster than Darby and I, so I can only just see the tail end of it through all the woods. Still, I figure the damn thing has to come to a stop eventually, and when it does... Wait, where'd it go? I reel in the reins, forcing Darby to come to a rather abrupt halt on which she's none too pleased about. I ignore her grumpy huffs of protest though, as a more pressing concern has just arisen. Namely, not only has the horse we were chasing just up and vanished, but it's left some kind of white, shapeless void behind it. I stare, utterly perplexed, as the void ebbs and flows. Looking down at the ground, I also notice a set of hooves leading into it. Initially, I hesitate. I have no idea what that thing is or why the other horse would have run through it, assuming that it intended to do that to begin with. Before I can really weigh my options, though, I see it begin to fade. Am I going to have to decide if I'm going through or not? Now left with a split-second decision when that could cost me that saddlebag forever, Oh, for Pete's sake. I spur Darby into the void. Okay, if I was gonna have to decide, I would have done it anyway. But makes sense. That horse face, did you see that? Okay, that was a short chapter. I wasn't sure if we're going to meet a horse again, so that's kind of nice, and I didn't directly comment on it, but the name that Aoife called us by is the one that we were able to decide in the beginning, our true name. So yeah, as I'd been wondering before, it must be suspicious that we're acting differently than the person they know. So it wouldn't surprise me too much if someone, obviously like the Queen, but especially from before the Spy Master, like he must be quite perceptive, right? So they would notice something is off. But for Aoife to know our name, that's quite curious. But yeah, let's see the next chapter. Call of the Crows. Gee. I feel a tugging in my navel, like some force is violently dragging me forward, and a crisp wind hits my face. Whoa now! Tugging in the reins, I call for Darby to stop so I can reorient myself. What in the hell? Okay. The golden light of the setting sun illuminates the forest, its trees speckled with autumn leaves. And possibly large mushrooms replace the vibrant flowers of the Sealy forest, and the eerie silence of the woods is only occasionally interrupted by a gust of wind. I shiver in the saddle as chilly air and a steady drizzle of rain quickly permeates through my clothes. Where am I? I look behind me for any signs of the void or the bright green forest surrounding the palace grounds. But all I find is more red gold hues. I scan the forest floor for any tracks that might guide me, but the horse I was chasing seems to have simply vanished into thin air. Where could it have even gone? I searched the canopy of trees to only find a few crows watching me. My mind swirls in confusion as I clench Darby's reins and turn her around in hopeless circles, as though that would somehow take me back to where I was. Oh, what was I thinking? I'm even more lost than before, and that's saying a lot, considering I'm in the other world. I groan and throw my hands up in frustration, causing Darby to huff nervously and shift underneath me. Oh, sorry, Darby. I stroke her neck until she relaxes again. At least this time I'm not lost and alone. But what should I do? Just pick a direction and hope for the best? I have no idea how far I am from that lake now. Wait a second. A map from Shay's outpost. I rack my brain for as many details as I can remember. The palace city Temer was in Falius and was said to be the dominion of spring. Since this is autumn, it must be Urias, I think. For a moment I thought it was going to give me like to have me pick if I remembered, because I don't. I'm not sure, but it's better than feeling completely lost. If only I had that map with me, then maybe I could find my way to the border. Well, not if we're in a forest, like you'd need some pieces of landscape or signs, something to let you know especially exactly where you are. It seems I don't have a choice here. If I don't get going somewhere or another, then I'm just going to sit here and shiver. Resigning myself to aimless wandering, Darby and I set off in search of any signs of civilization. Thankfully, it isn't too long before I spot a dirt road running into a denser area of the forest. As we approach the road, more crows begin to fly in and perch in the canopy. The more the merrier, I suppose. I don't know about that. Like, many crows at once are a little bit daunting. But in the silence of the forest, the growing audience in the canopy is a little creepy. Yeah, it really does feel like I'm being watched, and the increasing darkness of my surroundings doesn't help much either. An unsettling cacophony of crowing. Okay, actually, maybe it's very creepy. I urge Darby into a canter, and we hurry down the path, hoping to escape the uncanny atmosphere. Suppose she's coming for us still? Shut up, would you? If she is, she'll be following the sound of your yellow bellying. I gently pull back on Darby's reins as I hear a group of voices ahead of me. For a moment, I breathe a sigh of relief. That didn't take long at all. Maybe my luck is finally turning around. Let her come then. I'll give her a right proper wallop. You'll give her a... Are you mad? She's the bleeding more... For the love of Angus, stop your yawning and help me move this cart. Angus, the god of youth, love and poetry. Okay. And you. If you don't stop drinking all our wares, your piss-soaked trousers are going in a ditch. So unless you fancy walking back to Goria's bare-assed in the snow... piss off and... Alright, that's enough of that for you. Oi, don't you snatch on a man's whiskey before he's finished. Well, there's definitely something off about the trio. One of them is unquestionably drunk, and the others seem to be restless and on edge. It may not be a good idea to approach them after all. Still, I don't know when I'll be crossing another person's path. These forests are dense and dark and filled with who knows what. Do I really want to risk getting lost? I clench my jaw. I don't want to turn back if I don't have to, so I resolve to just keep listening in on their conversation for now. If they seem like trouble, then I'll just turn heel and be on my way. At least they don't seem to be going anywhere fast. How close are you that they're not hear you? I mean, especially if you're on your horse. Bollocks. How's anyone supposed to move about these God's forsaken souls when it's always raining and making a mess of the roads? Huh. Missing home? Gods, no. Do I look like I enjoy freezing my tits off? What tits? You know, one of these days I'm gonna cut that tongue from your gobshite mouth. Easy up. If we're caught like this, we're all getting worse. If I thought you were going to be such a lily-livered little coward about all this. Good sense ain't cowardice. I didn't think we were gonna snatch this from the main supply lines and right under the nose of... Where else, you idiot? Further north you go, the less anything grows. All I'm saying is we were doing just fine. Huh, you call holding up poor bastards on the roadside fine. It wasn't much, but we made do. We should just grab what we can and get a move on. This is a right wash and you know it. Don't be stupid. You know how much grain's in there? We'd be living fat and happy like old King Henry for a year. Easy. Right. Henri. Asking if they're not... I think that's who Aoife talked about before. Not if we don't make it back. Then move your hide and push. This bloody cart ain't going nowhere without more hands. You know, you're right. Oi, where'd that drunken langur toddle off to? The suddenness of yet another crow up above nearly startles me out of my skin. I huff, glaring at the little menace as it swoops down, and forces me to lock eyes with the drunkard peering at me through the foliage. Caught off guard, I momentarily hesitate, and that unfortunately gives the drunkard enough time to lunge at me, even as I kick Darby into motion. Ugh. With one swift motion, the hefty brute grabs a fistful of my clothes and yanks me off Darby's saddle. I land with a thud to the muddy forest floor, watching helplessly as Darby spurs on down the path. Great. Lost me my horse again. Not so fast, Spear. Spear, Aspire and Foment, okay. The drunkard whistles to the other bandits before dragging me to my feet and shoving me forward. I struggle against his grip, hoping to at least throw him off balance, but it's no use. He's short and stout, but as sturdy as a brick house, even sloshed. Up ahead, I finally see the scene that had been hidden from me up till now. The bandits had been struggling to dislodge a horse-drawn cart from a muddy rut. It's so well unstuck that the cart looks close to tipping over. I can't see past the sheet covering the cart's contents, but if it's all grain, then there's no way their poor horse will be able to pull all that for long, at least not by itself. Darby, get back here, please. As the drunkard and I meander into view, the two other bandits block Darby's path and calm her down enough to grab hold of her reins. Okay, that makes more sense. My stomach sinks. This is not good. Not good at all. How about that, huh?
Well, back then who's smiling on us after all. Fate's brought us a horse, and a fancy bastard to boot. Very fancy. Who are they supposed to be anyhow? And what's with the ears?
I fail to find a proper answer to any of these questions as I feel my mouth go dry. My eyes dart between the bandits, or more pertinently, the weapons at their sides. Eventually, I manage to sputter out a pitiful little plea. Please, I don't have anything of value.
No, don't look it to me.
The drunkard claps me on the back, sending me stumbling right into the middle of all three bandits. I'm surrounded. It's true though. Check my horse. I was already robbed of everything. The bandit woman snorts as I say this, giving me a disdainful once-over. You know that. I don't doubt it. The other bandits guffaw, and a look of understanding seems to cross all their faces. I swallow. Hard. How am I going to get out of this? Look, I don't want any trouble with you folks. Honest, I was just passing through. Shut it. The bandit woman stalks toward me, a hand reaching toward her waist. I'll be square with you. We're in a bit of a rush here, so I don't much care to deal with you any longer than I need to. So, here's how this works. We're taking the horse. You're outnumbered, defenseless, and by the looks of it, have never been in a real scrap in your life. So, unless you'd like me to paint the roadside with your entrails, let's move along now. I can't let them take Darby. I'm not losing the old girl again. Yeah, but what are you gonna do? Unless you're what I thought of before when we were still just listening into them. Just, tell them you will help them. If, get the cart moving and all that. Like we have to go with them, right? Otherwise we're just lost here. Protest, make a break for it. Nah, protest. You can't have my horse. I think we can, actually. You can't have my horse. We'll help you folks dislodge your cart, but Darby's not going with you. I need her. Yeah, that's what I was thinking, say you'll help them, but you may just as well go with them, like to have some starting point. It's not great, but, But besides, she's a stubborn piece of work, so you'll not be wanting her anyway. The bandit woman leers at me impatiently. You're funny. With a flat smile, she unsheaths a huge and unseemly dagger. Entrails it is then. I find myself completely frozen in place, all the color rapidly draining from my face. Is this it? Is this how I meet my end? I suck in a breath through my teeth, waiting the inevitable with my eyes squinted shut. My eyes flash open again. Out of nowhere, a mysterious woman stands between me and my assailer. Her bronze sword glints in the evening light as she raises it to parry the bandit woman's dagger, before kicking her square in the chest and knocking her onto the ground, breathless. Without sparing me a glance, the warrior woman lunges toward the other bandits. The nervous man fumbles as he retrieves his sword, and the drunkard is unable to keep up with the warrior's unending onslaught through his inebriation. All I can do is watch my savior with awe as she dodges one man's sloppy swing before swiftly taking him down and then blocking the other's sword just as it comes at her. She effortlessly defends against both men, though I suppose one being drunk doesn't hurt. A movement in my periphery catches my attention, and time to see the bandit woman has crawled back to her feet, her dagger once again in hand. The warrior is engaged with the second man still. It will never see her in time. I knew it was going to be there. I could have shouted out or stopped her, but stopping her I think is very dangerous when we don't really know about fighting, so... Behind you! I call out to the woman fighting the bandits, but I'm not sure if she can hear me over the fight. Oh no! The bandit woman pauses mid-step when I do, and suddenly remembers that I'm here. She rushes over to me, dagger held at the ready, but before I can even think to run... Huh, what the... Ow, shite! Get away, you stupid birds! My jaw drops as all the crows in the canopy dive bomb the bandit woman from above. She drops the knife almost instantly in an effort to swat the birds away, but she just ends up tripping over herself as she flails, panicked. It's a little disturbing if I'm honest. She bundles up into a ball, hiding her face from the crow's beaks and talons, but they still tear through her back. Once the birds see fit to fly away, I can't help but creep toward her cautiously, despite the fact she nearly killed me moments before. Is she... Did I... She's a little worse for wear, but alive. The woman is sheathing her sword as she approaches me. The other two bandits are both lying unconscious behind her. Just unconscious? Okay. Thank you for giving me a heads up just then. Them, too. Are you okay? They didn't injure you. I'm sorry I didn't get here faster. Thank you. I'm fine, mostly just a little shaken up. I've never been in a real fight before. Then I apologize again for dragging you into one. By the way, I'm Maithe, head of the Unseelie Guard. I've been trailing these bandits for a while now, after they stole some supplies being transported out of province. Maithe? Troidor? It looks French to me, so I don't know. The given name means she who rules. The epithet means hour of the fight. Okay. Hi, Maithe. Head of the Unseelie Guard. Okay. So who we were before with? If I've thought this in my head, like Shay, Eva and Keegan are with the Seelie and she's Unseelie. Okay. She gestures over to the covered cart. Pleasure, Maithe. I'm the Seelie Court Druid. Mouth agape, I stare at her for a moment. Some small part of me had hoped that I might be able to escape this continuous identity crisis, but no such luck. As a human, you're pretty conspicuous if you know what to look for. Not to mention the outfit gives you away. Not every day a member of the Seelie Court gets caught crossing this side of the border. All these times we've rode off on Derby, I was thinking, oh, good thing we didn't pick the really nice clothes. But oh well, they're still nice enough, I guess. Gets caught? I don't much like the sound of that. So, Druid, want to tell me what you're doing here? I shuffle a bit nervously, wondering if my answer could land me in trouble. Still, I don't really know enough about what's going on to lie. That's what I've been saying from the start. It's a very long story. For one, I'm not exactly certain where here is. Maeve observes me for a moment, like she's trying to figure out if I'm being honest or not. I try my best to look as sincere as I can manage. Wordlessly, she turns to inspect the card's contents. You're in the forest just outside Kushla Nadino? Okay. Castle of the People. It is a stronghold in Murias and the present capital of the Unseelie Court. So you can understand why I can't just let you leave. The druid of the Seelie Court showing up here, in the capital no less, is still trespassing and a criminal offense. Criminal? Oh, However, since you helped me out here, you can ride alongside me with your horse rather than in the back with this lot. Gesturing over to the still unconscious bandits, she gives me a genial nudge before procuring some rope from somewhere. Once I load them onto the cart, we're heading straight to the king. On the way, you can give me the highlights of what you're up to. Okay, I don't have a choice in the matter, it seems, and I mean, that makes sense. Yeah, like, based on circumstances, that's really giving us more leeway than Shay did. Sure, might as well help her. I have to say, so far Maeve has been nicer and more straightforward with me than anyone, despite the fact I'm technically trespassing. Yeah. Maybe if I stay on her good side, she'll be convinced I'm not here to cause trouble. If we're going to see the king, I need all the help I can get. As Maeve picks up one end of a bandit, I lift the other, and we heave them each onto the cart before binding them together with a rope. By the time we are done, the fabric against my back is damp, and my shoulders are burning. Yeah, that's what I thought. We're probably not very strong, like, malnourished, I suppose. So Maeve would be much stronger than us, but any help helps. Maeve, however, seems completely unbothered. Yeah. I have to admit, you've surprised me yet again, Druid. So far, you are nothing like what I expected. It's refreshing. I feel a little bashful from the praise. I faintly wonder if buttering me up is some kind of compliance tactic, but if it is, it's working. Oh, well, thanks. I'll go get Darby hooked up to the cart. Maeve chuckles, nodding at me as I go. God, she's pretty. Has anyone been ugly so far here? Before we get going, Maeve gestures for me to follow her to the driver's seat. I nervously follow, but to my surprise, she removes a cloak from the cart and gently wraps it around me before tying it together. Seelie clothes aren't exactly made to withstand our climates. Put the hood up as well, to hide your ears. Smart. My body relaxes into the warmth of the cloak, as though it was just now remembering how cold it was before. I guess my adrenaline rush back there helped too. It takes a few minutes for Maeve and I to unwedge the cart from the rut, but with 2 horses at the front and us pushing at the rear, we get it done. Though, if I'm being honest, Maeve did most of the heavy lifting. Finally, we set out on the road, side by side in the front of the cart. Well, all we have now is time. Let's hear it. Right, well... I very cautiously explain and try to keep the details as sparse as possible, just in case. I was just at my cottage when I saw something take off into the woods with my saddlebag. I had some important things in there, so I gave chase on Darby here, but then I fell into this, I don't know what to call it, void, I guess? A great big white light. Anyway, I fumbled in and it spat me out here. I don't know how. I've never seen anything like it. I was looking for directions when I ran into the bandits, and then you. Despite my clumsy description, Maithe seems to be following the narrative better than me. Once I finish, I wait for her verdict. Did you see what the thief looked like? I hesitate. This may be Tirnanok, but I don't exactly know how common literal horse thieves are, or whatever that thing was. It had purplish hair? Well, it was better than nothing. Unbelievable. Damn it. Of all the times, I'm going to make sure this time he doesn't get away with it. Pardon? Sorry, I just have a recurring pain in the ass to address. The good news for you is I know who has your stuff. In fact, I think you do too. I sit up a little straighter. I do? Maeve heaves a long sigh, then looks at me warily. Well, we'll soon find out. It's only a suspicion for now. I mean, I have a hunch. I've seen the shop page and all that. My stomach turns as I think about the possibility of interacting with yet another acquaintance of Daoine's, but I feel a minor sense of relief as well. It's not much, but at least it's a lead. I don't have to fight a dragon for it or anything, do I? Why would you have to do something like that? Sorry, it's just been a weird day. Or possibly longer, I can't really tell. So, who is it and where can I find them? We're already heading there, don't you worry. We still have a little ways to go though, so make yourself comfortable. I nod, settling back into my seat. Alright, quietly riding toward yet another menacing capital city is going to kill me. Maeve's been friendly enough with me so far, so I might as well make conversation. Once I can think of a topic anyway. Okay, what's with the birds, or is this a normal day for you? I'm mostly curious about the crows. My eyes drift to the air as the forest begins thinning out a little, and patches of sky become clearer. Squinting, I notice a few crows flying overhead. Seriously? Still? I look back to Maeve, the only commonality for this occurrence. So, what's with the birds? Maeve responds with a short laugh. Not a fan of my entourage, Seely? What? No, I love being stalked by a murder of crows. It's not unsettling in the slightest. Oh, good. I was worried for a moment there. They followed me around ever since I was a child. Okay, that's kinda creepy. Really? Why? You're not having me on, are you? You really don't know? No, ma'am. I can assure you that I'm clueless in all things. Huh. Well, never you mind then. They're just my little helpers is all. Really? I I raise an eyebrow, not quite believing that that's the end of it. But I don't press her. It's none of my business after all. Very curious. I would have thought it's like an... how to say... like a magic power. I don't know, something she learned to do, but if they followed her around since she was a child, is it more like a curse? Interesting. This looks like a church. As Maithe and I approach the end of the autumn forest, we come to a cliffside with an imposing castle on its precipice and a storming lake to its back. Here we are. That's the capital city? It's no Temere, but yes. The stronghold itself is home to about 200 people, with more folks in the surrounding villages. It's not the biggest castle the Unseelie took, but it was the last and hardest fought. King Lugate felt it was necessary to make this place, the last city before spring, our capital. He was the sort of person to take symbolic gestures very seriously. Anyway, let's keep going. The city here is much different than Temere. Compared to the sprawling crowd of the Seelie city, this place is empty, and the shops focus more on smithing or trade. The buildings haven't been maintained very well either. As we pass through the streets, I'm confronted by decrepit storefronts and broken up roads. Some of the shopkeepers are patching up walls rather than attending to their empty counters. I must be wearing quite the expression, because Maithe starts explaining. We're still rebuilding from the war. The Seelie haven't been exactly helpful, as you may know, so keeping the peace and managing the fallout across both provinces has taken up a lot of our attention. There were a number of Tiane who weren't thrilled about the Seelie's relinquishing of Murias and Gorias after all. Tierney? Lord. A High Lord would be called Tierney? Okay. The situation's still not perfect, but we're hoping we can start to move forward now. A king hasn't been on the throne long, but he has good plans in mind. Right now, we're rebuilding the outer walls, naturally, but we're helping our people survive while they rebuild too. It's not a lot, but it helps to know we're in this together. With time and cooperation, we might even be able to make this place better than before. There is a twinkle in her eye, and she casually looks over at me as she suggests it. Does she mean me? Or, well, Daoine? Is that why she's being so genial? Am I being recruited? It does feel like it. I find myself fidgeting with the cloak Maithe gave me. As a druid, is a druid that influential? I can't help but to think back to what Aoife told me. Druids have always been invaluable consultants to the kings and queens of the Tuatha De Danann. But shouldn't that mean that the king has a druid in his court too? If I ask, would that be considered rude? Ask or don't ask? Ooh. Okay, the thing is, well, Maithe hasn't outright opened the conversation of joining them. It is quite obvious, like she's not hiding it, I think. So in return, I think it might not be too bad to speak open as well. I'm just too curious. I'll ask. Maithe, can I ask a question about the Unseelie court? Of course, as long as it isn't state secrets. She gives me a wink, and I feel a little less anxious about asking. Does your court have a druid? I just meant I haven't heard. Used to. None at the moment, though. It's an important position. We need time to assess an appropriate candidate. Yeah, see, that's what I was wondering a bit. Like, she's kind of, buttering us up to join them without even knowing much about us. Like, sure, she assumes we're Daoine, but how much is known about Daoine? And also, it's always different when you meet a person and get a feel for them. Like, it sounds a bit hasty to recruit her. But, well, I can only imagine. That's understandable. I hope you get one soon. How congenial you are. As we continue on through the city, I notice that most of the townspeople who spot Maithe come up to greet us. Oh, Maithe, won't you come by sometime for a cup? Thank you. I'll come by sometime.
Maithe, thanks for getting my lyre back. Next song is dedicated to you.
If that's true, Killian, it better not be another one about tavern girls.
Aye, Maithe, I've got something set aside for you now.
Maithe pauses at the vendor's call. What do you say? Want to take a little detour with me? Agree or hesitate? Why would we hesitate? We have to follow her anyway. Like, I'm not going to go in front of the king alone. Or wander off to somewhere. Sure, let's go. I'm in no rush for another royal confrontation. Not to mention, Maithe isn't the worst company I've had so far. And also, by the way, I'm very much aware that the choices we make here are more for the love interests than anything, I'm pretty sure. But yeah, I'm just trying to live in the moment. Go with the story, okay? Excellent. We lead the cart over to the vendor who called out to us, and he pulls out a small brown bottle that's been sealed with red wax. Not too much trouble getting it? She handles the bottle gently, tucking it into her saddlebag with care, before fishing out a few odd-looking coins.
These days, what isn't too much trouble? But for you, it was nothing.
You're too kind. As we turn to leave, the man catches Maeve's attention once more.
By the way, I meant to tell you, that old bandit gang, Nuafiana, is back causing trouble. Thought you'd want to take care of it before the king does.
New Fianna, an unseelie band of vigilantes who steal from the wealthy to give to the poor. They are named after the legendary Fianna, a warrior band led by Fionn Mac... Oh my god, what is all this lore? One moment. Okay, Finn McCool, a mythological warrior and druid and the main character of the Fenian cycle of Irish mythology. He once ate a really smart fish. Great, good for him. I'll see what I can do. We head back towards the castle, but the atmosphere has changed. Maeve seems distracted by what the vendor said. Maeve? Sorry, I get lost in thought. About the group the vendor mentioned? Who are they? It's a bit complicated. Some folks will tell you they're just another group of bandits. But, well, they don't see themselves that way. I don't think it's completely fair to say they're just another gang. But maybe that's my bias talking. I used to be one of them before I ended up where I am now. What? Really? It was a long time ago. They gave me a home when I had nowhere else to go, and saw themselves vigilantes, bringers of justice. They're not all bad, but not all good either. I left because I realized we weren't fixing anything. Not really. I want to help them help themselves, I suppose. I don't know if I'll be able to reach them, but I want to try. But enough about me. I have supplies and a very companionable druid to deliver. Come on now, we should head to the stables and then into the keep. After that, stick by and let me do most of the talking. Gladly. Not a problem. If I've learned anything so far, it's to try and avoid attention. Maithe takes me over to the stables, where she assures me that Darby will be well taken care of. Trust me, these horses eat better than we do. While I get Darby's stall set up, Maithe takes the cart and bandits to a small group of guards where she starts giving them instructions. I'm filling the water trough when she returns. Hey, I just want you to know I think you are telling the truth. I hope that makes you feel a little better about this. It does, but my stomach is too queasy to answer with more than a nod and weak smile. Once we reach the enormous wooden doors at the keep, Maithe gives me one last comforting smile and places a hand gently on my shoulder. You'll be fine. Probably. Great! Okay, now I think that's it for today. Okay, so one, or should I say two new characters that we met. Yeah, I'm very sure we're going to see that horse thief again. Interesting. I'm still thinking about Maeve's crows. I'm sorry about all the pronunciation things. Again, even English isn't my first language, so I'm doing my best over here. Yeah, okay, interesting that they're trying to really get us to join the Unseelie Court, it seems. Torn in all different directions. Very complicated role to fill there. And again, I don't think that everyone just believes us who we are. There must be doubts all around, right? Or there will be very quickly. Yeah, we're still learning more about this world. Slowly enjoying this so far. I think the next part will be the last of the demo, but yeah, still got a bit to go. So, as always, please let me know what you think in the comments down below. And until next time, bye bye!